Today, we talk about... And I wish I didn't have that same expectation of the person I shared it with. You know what I mean? Like, people aren't going to experience things the same way you are. And that's very frustrating for someone like me, especially because I feel like things that I focus in on, I fucking focus on. Like that's got my fucking attention. And that's different for everyone. So in my own head, like the things I value, the things I pay attention to, I feel like everyone else in the world should. But, you know, you get older, you start to learn about people, meet more people, experience life, experience the world, and realize, like, no, bruh, that ain't how ish goes downtown. So that's the thing. Back to the podcast kind of like wish list or whatever, kind of the idea of what I was going for. I had a different name for this podcast. I'm curious if I even still have it. Let me pull up my ish here. This is not a, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. This is not like a, well, I mean, I don't know how many times I got to repeat myself. This is a work in progress. Okay, I did a brainstorm page, that's right. So I had a few different names for this thing. No, so like I said, I think the name of this is going to just be The Podcast. It's generic. If it never takes off, who gives a shit? It's very generic. If it does take off, it would be super fun to, you know, kind of like those other companies that like kind of have that witty name where you say it, you're like, oh, I see what they did there. I wanted one of those, I see what they did there names. It was basically like someone would be like, oh, have you heard of The Podcast? And they'll be like, which podcast? The Podcast. You know what I mean? So that'd be kind of fun. Plus the Lil Wayne inspiration. And maybe that would be like its own little segment there. I mean, I kind of touched on the whole kind of Martian idea. He's just like this dude who clearly just doesn't feel like a human being, and it flows through his music, and a lot of the same components in his flow I feel like I carry in my mental flow. Obviously it's not the same kind of flow because I don't have Bugatti money as a result of my flow. All right, so my flow brings a lot less value to the human existence as of this moment than Lil Wayne's does, but it's not the point of this. It's not a comparison, it's not a competition. It's just like, it's been nice to kind of self-reflect as I continue to grow both mentally, socially, and physically, how much I've gleaned from him and other heroes of mine, which again I would like to touch on. Some of those heroes have passed away, obviously, but there are some heroes of mine who I would love to have sitting next to me someday, just like excited to be here, be like, oh shit, man. You know, that whole, fucking cliche shit where like the nobody looks up to whoever, and then they always had that same inspirational story when they make it. They're like, oh man, I always looked up to so-and-so, and the next thing I know, he or she is like asking to sit down with me. Like, what, me? I never thought it would happen. So like, yeah, I would love to have that cliche moment happen to me too with whoever my heroes are that are still on this earth, hopefully by the time, if I'm in a position to make that happen. So that's another goal. Another goal is just to, find happiness, man. Like I'm hoping by putting my thoughts out there, putting my being out there in both the form of the podcast, but also just like the other content I work on, that as I've already started to notice, like I just attract love. I attract like-minded individuals who want to build a community for ourselves among, quote, misfits. So that would be fun. What are my other goals? To see the world and to experience things I never otherwise will. I think it's pretty clear to me at this point, given the path I chose in life and given the upbringing that I had, fortunately or unfortunately, that, being a billionaire is not going to happen. Being the richest man in the world is not going to happen. And so while I did have that as kind of a pipe dream goal some time ago, because I thought, listen, man, no one wants to do the kind of things you want to do. No one's interested in the kind of things you're interested in. No one really kind of appreciates where you're coming from with a lot of things you do or act or say or desire or believe. So if you want to make shit happen, or if you want to see the world the way you want to see it, or if you want to do things in the world the way you want to do them, you got to have cash. Because cash is king. If you have money, you can do things your way. I can give you a perfect example of that in terms of sneakers. I'm a cornball. I'm not someone that the average sneaker OG or people in the streets would ever associate with. I knew and interacted and got along with a lot of, people of the hood, if you will, because I went to an urban high school in upstate New York, but and they kind of took me in more than white people did, so to speak. But when I say took me in, it's just like a relative term, because really no one took me in. No one knew how to take me in, especially fucking kids. Especially throwing the whole bullying aspect and, kids' social understanding of what's important and what's not in life and blah, blah, blah. And that kind of reflected on me. And then, you have immigrant parents who can't really help you because they never fucking went to school in this country, so they don't really understand the dynamics and what fucking cool is, or what fucking clout is, or what social standing is, and how important these things are. These things are very fucking important for kids. You don't realize it until you're older, but by the time you're fucking older, it's not important anymore, but it kind of is, because it's kind of shaped everything that led you to make the decisions you made to get to the place you are in life. So, oh man, why did I bring all that up? That's probably going to be your most quoted line on this podcast, by the way. This is kind of fun, man. Just another goal is, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I got off on another tangent. Surprise. The idea of using my voice. A lot of people say they hate their voice. I never fucking understood that. It's your fucking voice. How the fuck do you hate your own voice? What? I love my voice. I'm not in a cocky way. I don't hate my voice. And I've been told I have a good voice to use for this kind of platform, so I'm happy I'm doing that. But what I was really trying to get at is, I spend a lot of time alone. Most of it's by choice, but sometimes it's not. And so like I said, I have 20,000 hours a day of just thoughts and conversations with myself, and revisiting scenarios and creating scenarios and imagination and this and that. See? Yeah, so on top of all that, when I don't use my voice like this, because I spend so much time alone, then when I finally end up finding myself in a social situation, I end up just buckling, because if you don't use it, you lose it, and that goes for your voice. Your tongue is a muscle, your voice box, your brain processing, going from thoughts to words like these. It's an exercise. You need to do it. You need to be out there. And I have extroverted tendencies, but naturally I am an introvert. That's just what it is. And, I can be the life of the party. Not very often. It's very much a lightning in a bottle type of thing. But I have that potential. How you look at someone, you're like, there's no way this guy's an extrovert. That's not me. I actually look like an extrovert. I look like someone who's just like, I'm sure a lot of you that watch my stuff probably assume that I'm out there like doing these amazing things all the time, and I'm just like out talking to the world like, hey, yo, hey, Bobby, hey, yo, Joe, hey, yo. But that's not how it goes. I can do that, but when I get home from a day like that, I'm beat, bro. I'm done. Like, I need to recover for like 3 days. I need to, again, not talk to people for like 3 weeks. And then something like this happens where, actually, this is probably why I'm starting to like feel a little bit better compared to what I was like trying to gear up to get all this started after the fucking day I've had today / week. I think I'm like getting kind of a second wind here, because I've been going stir crazy in here. I've been like ordering Grubhub into the place, which is, to me, is super pathetic. I have access to the most amazing city in the world with the most amazing restaurants just at my fucking fingertips, and I literally have to call food up here. Part of it's I'm fucking lazy to go all the way down from the penthouse to the base of the elevator. It's almost like Oregon Trail, I feel like I'd have to like bring a mate and like several different families with me so that we could like procreate on the elevator on the way down, because some of us are not going to make it. Who made that joke? I'm trying to remember. Was it Louis C.K.? Prior to airplane travel, how we had to, whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah, so I've been doing that. I haven't left the apartment. I've been trying to fucking get this place into shape with all the shelves, with the IKEA furniture, with the... there's just been so much going on, so it's just been consuming me. And then I knew I wanted to get this podcast done, and I kept procrastinating because this issue came up, and then that issue came up, and then day. So here we finally are. I'm so fucking glad I did this. And I think that's, again, why I'm getting my second wind, because I'm like talking now, I'm interacting, I'm like actually, I feel like I'm communicating somewhat. And I'm glad I have the skill set to be able to look at this fucking hunk of metal and wires and bullshit and be able to see you guys there. And that's why I'm able to just freely talk like this, I think, which a lot of people can't do. It's so weird to me.